It was 10 p.m, and I was just settling into bed when my phone began to ring. I looked at the screen and noticed that it was my friend Rob. Based off how late in the evening he was calling, I knew what the call was about. I think it's time. Rob's voice was a mix of excitement and worry on the other end of the line. A couple of weeks prior, Rob had asked me if I would mind sitting with his 2 children when it came time for his girlfriend, Dana, to give birth to their 3rd child. They lived with Dana's brother, Alex, but he had a very demanding job and worked many hours and at odd times, so he wasn't always home to watch the kids. Rob and Dana's parents both lived an hour away in a neighbouring town, so the plan was for me to sit with the kids until one of the sets of grandparents could make it, or until Alex got home from work. The contractions are close together, and she thinks it's time, so we're packing things into the van. Alex gets off work in about an hour. Would you mind hanging out until he can get home to be with the kids? I could hear him rummaging with things as he spoke. I sat up and put on my glasses. Sure, I can do that. I'll be there in 10 minutes, I answered. See you soon. I hung up and informed my husband that we needed to go to Rob's because Dana was in labour. I would have gone by myself, but it was the middle of the night and I had only been to their house once before, so I didn't want to be by myself. I had also never met Alex before. I knew he lived there and was Dana's brother, but we had never met, and the thought of meeting a man for the first time when you were practically alone in his house unsettled me. So I asked my husband to tag along. He agreed and we got dressed and made the 5-minute trip to Rob's house. When we pulled up, Rob was outside, loading the last of the stuff into his van. We went inside and Dana was on the couch looking like she was ready to have that baby out of her. We all chatted for a second. They told us that the kids were asleep downstairs and that Alex would be home in a little over an hour. We wished them good luck and told them to keep us updated, and off they went. My husband and I watched some TV and played on our phones, while periodically peeking in on the sleeping children. It was a quiet night, and the kids stayed asleep with no issues. 11:30 rolled around and Alex was supposed to be home by then, but I just figured he got caught up at work and didn't think too much of it. Around 15 minutes later, there was a noise on the porch, and the doorknob jiggled. I didn't have the door locked, so it eventually slowly pushed open, and in walked Alex. Alex was a fairly tall man with brown hair and dark eyes, and was wearing a black hoodie with jeans. He walked in and looked at my husband and me with a look that resembled confusion. I immediately assumed that Rob had forgotten to call Alex, to let him know what was going on in all the excitement. And now here I was, a stranger in Alex's house that he wasn't expecting. I quickly jumped up to greet him. "Hi," I exclaimed. "You must be Alex. I'm Christy and this is my husband Shane. We're Rob's friends. We're watching the kids while Rob takes Dana to the hospital." "Oh, so they aren't here," Alex mumbled after a moment. I was a bit annoyed at Rob at this point, for putting all 3 of us in such an awkward situation by not informing Alex of what was going on. I could tell that poor Alex had walked into this house completely blindsided. No, they aren't here. Dana is in labour and they're at the hospital. We were just hanging out here until you got home from work and could be with the kids. They're asleep downstairs." His face seemed to change, like he finally understood what was going on. "Oh, right. I do remember him mentioning that. Well, thank you for staying with them then. I can take things from here." We said our goodbyes and Shane and I left. We got home and I settled into bed, ready to get some sleep. A little over half an hour later, Rob calls me again. "Hey," he said. "I'm really sorry Alex has taken so long. He just called me and said he's about 10 minutes away from the house. He was stuck at work. I know it's much later than I thought it would be. Are the kids still sleeping? I almost fainted before I told them that we had left half an hour ago, when Alex had gotten home. You aren't there? Alex just left work. There's no way he's been home half an hour. Who's at the house? His voice sounded as panicked as I felt. I called 911 in the car on my way to the house. I burst through the door and ran downstairs. But it was too late. The kids and the man were gone. The next couple of weeks were a blur. We put out sketches of the man and Amber Alerts. At the start of the second week, a convenience store employee recognized the sketch as a man who frequented the store that was not far from Rob's house. They got the man's name and searched his apartment. There was no one there. But they found pictures and journal entries that told police that the man had been stalking the family for months. There will never be a way for me to express how sorry I am. The search for the children continues. I just hope they come home alive.